Well, good morning. The draft is arriving. And where you are standing or sitting right now is the stage that in 30 days we're going to get a chance to see, where J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum and all of our other favorite college players are going to find out where they'll be pursuing their NFL careers. This is the stage, and if you haven't seen it before, what they are going to build is massive. A 2,500-foot stand, stage, et cetera. It's going to run all the way down to Farmer Street behind you. You can see they're already taking down the light poles. It's going to take 3 or 4 weeks to build out this stage, and it's going to take a couple of weeks to take it down afterwards. So starting Friday, when you come out here, you will see the construction going on, and people will start to visualize what this is going to be. The other thing that's going to happen is we're going to start shutting down streets because there is no way to build a structure of this magnitude. And so starting Friday, you won't be able to drive north on Randolph near the county building, Monroe, Farmer, Bates, this whole section, the roads will be closed off. The Visit Detroit team has done a great job reaching out to the surrounding businesses. They all know this. Those of us who work downtown, of course, I've worked a block away for a good part of my career. You'll end up parking the way you always parked, and you'll navigate around the perimeter. Somebody who drives down on Saturday, you'll find a little bit more roundabout way to get to Greektown. But other than that, for the next week or so, it should be about the same. Now, in another week or two, we're going to be closing down Jefferson because we're going to be building out the NFL experience down at Hart Plaza. And the people who work down here are just going to have to be patient, but I know they're looking forward to the excitement. If you get your NFL One Pass, and I think by now everybody understands, if you want to get into the NFL fenced area, the zone area, you got to have an NFL One Pass. They're free. You can go on the app. You can get it today. You can get your little QR code to get swiped in. But I want people to start thinking about this in their experience. If you were at the draft in Las Vegas or Kansas City, everybody was inside the NFL fence. You swiped in, and they accommodated everybody. Here, our fenced area is in downtown. It's not going to be as big. And so I'm guessing probably 1 or 3 or 1 in 4 people who are down here are actually going to be inside the NFL fence zone, which the stand's going to go here, the crowd's going to go straight out to Woodward watching the draft activities, and then we will have Woodward fenced all the way down across Jefferson to Hart Plaza, where the NFL experience will be. That's the area where the kids get to pass the ball, play different types of games, and the like. And so, particularly those first 2 days, Thursday and Friday, you are probably going to have to be here pretty early to get inside the fence zone. The beauty of that is, though, what the team here has done has created so many other spaces where you're going to be able to watch and hear the draft that you can be downtown. And while you'll technically be outside the NFL One Pass zone, you can go to Grand Circus Park, Beacon Park, Capitol Park, Paradise Valley, Greektown, Eastern Market, Corktown. You will be able to be part of the activity in these surrounding areas. And so we are trying something that hasn't been tried in a few years in integrating the draft into a downtown. And we could not be more excited. So we're 30 days out. If you've been down here, you've seen the banners going up on the light poles for the 32 NFL teams. You've seen our little electrical boxes, which over the years have tended to attract graffiti, have now been remade into the jerseys of many Detroit sports legends. And you continue to see those touches be added. I cannot say enough about the job that Claude Molinari and Visit Detroit, the Detroit Lions, Eric Larson and the Downtown Partnership have done. You have seen a seamless effort. And of course, the Detroit Police Department is going to have an enormous challenge. There will be 60 evolved weapons detectors all throughout downtown throughout the weekend. People who have been down here last year are familiar with them. We just haven't had that many. And pretty much all of our police officers have had their vacation and leave time canceled for those few days. So the Detroit Police Department is going to be ready to provide the kind of positive experience for all of our visitors. We are very fortunate that one of the co-chairs of this has made good since she left my administration. So please let me turn this over to the woman who's leading this, Alexis Wiley.
Thank you, Mayor. And let's just have a round of applause for the mayor and all the city leaders who actually made this happen and all their hard work. We couldn't be more excited as we approach the final days leading up to the draft. And it's been a lot of work from a lot of great people. All the partners the mayor mentioned, the ROC team, everybody who's done a lot of work. But one organization of people that I do want to make sure I recognize are the Detroit Local Organizing Committee, volunteers like myself who all have dedicated time to do this work. If we have any members of our committee here, could you raise your hands? Anyone? All right, well, thank you so much for everything you've done. So as we get closer to the actual draft, we've had extensive engagement, ranging from business town halls, events in neighborhoods, and even going beyond Detroit. We had a really fantastic on-the-clock event in Warren, Farmington Hills. We've done business town halls, significant engagement to make sure that our businesses, our communities deeply engaged. And we are so excited to say that as we approach the draft, Detroit will have strong representation of businesses who are actively involved, whether it is in the actual footprint of the event, at the concessions, or included in the One Pass guide, where thousands of people are going to be able to see their names and their business as the go-to, so that they know that there are lots of really great local options. So again, I cannot urge you enough to make sure that people are downloading that One Pass. That is your guide as we get closer. Secondly, we want to remind everyone, this is a free event. Don't call around trying to get tickets. All you need is to download the One Pass. If you don't have a One Pass, we have an option for you. Just come on down and enjoy what is going to be a free event for all of us. With that, I would like to introduce, I think, one of the hardest working CEOs in Detroit, Claude Molinari, CEO of Visit Detroit.
Thank you, Alexis. In just 30 days, hundreds of thousands of football fans will get to see firsthand what makes Detroit such an incredible city. Success in hosting major events is like success on the football field. It takes an incredible team of people working together. Huge credit goes to Mayor Duggan, the City of Detroit, the Downtown Detroit Partnership, the Detroit Lions, the Rocket family of companies, Wayne County, Detroit City Council, and the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Let me be clear. We would not be able to host the draft without the generous support of more than 20 organizations who are listed on the Visit Detroit website. Thank you all for your donations to the local organizing committee and for your leadership to the region. The NFL draft, as Alexis said, is free to attend, and it will be the largest, most inclusive sporting event in the history of the state of Michigan. We will welcome hundreds of thousands of visitors, which will help generate hundreds of millions of dollars in economic impact. Additionally, tens of millions of TV viewers will see the beauty of Detroit, which will help inspire more visitors, more investment, and more opportunities for the people of Michigan to thrive. This is going to be a party that everyone wants to be at. In addition to the excitement of the draft, there will be great music, great food, and exciting NFL experiences that the whole family can enjoy. Working alongside Mayor Duggan, we will be sharing information on how everyone can optimize the Detroit NFL draft experience. More details on everything you need to know can be found on our website, visitdetroit.com. We can't wait to see you all in Detroit. Now I'd like to bring up the CMO of Rocket Mortgage, Casey Ubris.
Great. Thank you so much, Claude. Good morning. I'm proud to stand here today on behalf of Rocket Mortgage, a long-standing partner of the Detroit Lions in the NFL. The road to get here started well over 6 years ago, where alongside the Lions and the Detroit Sports Commission, Rocket companies, we started having discussions about bringing the NFL draft to Detroit, because we knew in our hearts that the tremendous impact the NFL draft could have on the city that we all love. That countdown clock started 712 days ago when Commissioner Goodell and Mayor Duggan announced the 2024 draft was coming to Detroit. And here we are. 30 days from now, over 60 million viewers will tune in to see the beauty of what we know is in the city of Detroit. Hundreds of thousands of fans will fill the city streets. And over the course of 3 days, 257 young men will cross this stage when they realize their dreams have come true of becoming an NFL player. It is a privilege and an honor to bring something so prestigious and coveted to Detroit. And make no mistake, it is no small defeat. It requires years of meticulous planning, countless hours of hard work, and seamless collaboration, as the mayor talked about, between great organizations in both the public and private sector, all spearheaded by the muscle and grit of visionaries like our very own Dan Gilbert, who challenged everyone when we moved downtown 14 years ago and asked others to follow. And along the way, Rocket Mortgage is proud to be a committed partner of the Detroit Lions, the NFL, and the NFL Draft, championing Detroit at every turn and continuously finding ways to bring fun family events to the city. We know Detroit has a rich history and a vibrant spirit, and we are going to roll out the Detroit red carpet so fans and guests from around the country will descend upon Detroit, filling the streets with electric energy, and they can support our city's business owners. I see Ivy here and Bedrock, all the amazing work that our partners at Bedrock are doing with our small business owners, as hundreds of thousands of people weave their way through the city streets and activations, up and down Woodward to Campus Martius to Hart Plaza and everywhere in between, where our visitors can dine and shop locally, helping make a lasting difference in our community. I'd like to take a moment to thank the individuals and groups who have worked tirelessly to bring the draft here to Detroit. Obviously, Mayor Duggan, the NFL, the Lions, the Detroit Sports Commission, and as Claude mentioned, many, many more. It truly takes a huge village to bring the NFL draft to life, and the world will see how great our city of Detroit is. And we have momentum in staging events like this, right? Over the last few years, the Detroit Grand Prix, the Rocket Mortgage Classic, the most successful WWE SummerSlam ever last year at Ford Field. And oh, by the way, this weekend, the Midwest Regionals for the NCAA basketball tournament. I can't wait for us all to show the world what Detroit is made of: its heart, its soul, and its unwavering pride. And as we welcome fans, prospects, and teams to our city, let's remember this event is not just about football. It's about the spirit of Detroit, a city that rises, rebuilds, and roars. Now let's show the world what we've been up to, Detroit. And I'd love to bring Eric Larson back up. Thanks.
So, welcome, and I get to close this out, and it's, I think what we've heard here today is a lot about what not only Detroit is about, but what this opportunity represents. Not only the people behind me, but the honor of working with so many, not only organizations, but individuals to really make sure that this is highlighting the city in a way that the tens of thousands of individuals and the hundreds, tens of millions of people watching throughout the world will be seeing over the 3 days of the draft experience. We at the Downtown Detroit Partnership are excited today to also announce Draft Day in the D. Draft Day in the D is a way to expand this excitement that is taking place right here at Campus Martius, stretching all the way down to Hart Plaza, and move it into other parts of the city and throughout the neighborhoods. As the mayor said, we're going to have activities that are free, open, and inclusive in Harmony Park, Grand Circus Park, Beacon Park, Capitol Park. Greentown is going to have a massive block party. Eastern Market is going to do their traditional tailgating. Things will be taking place throughout the city of Detroit, and everyone will be able to enjoy it, which is a really unique opportunity and a very different way that the NFL has embraced Detroit and Detroit spirit. On behalf of the Downtown Detroit Partnership, we're excited to be part of it. We obviously could not have done it without the partners that are represented here today. We want to make sure that Detroit is telling its story. We want to make sure that we're continuing to reinforce the opportunity that this represents for our small businesses. The continued outreach that this group has already been doing will continue. And most importantly, get excited. We're 30 days out. Detroit is on the clock. Let's make sure we make the most of this event. Thanks again.
All right, and Alexis, why don't you come up here, and with that, we'll take any questions.
I think I could probably let Eric talk a little bit about anything with that in terms of pop-ups or anything. Anybody else wants to talk about that? Okay, come on.
So we have a bunch of pop-ups, everything from NFL-related stores like Legends to some of our local people who are doing pop-ups. We have some of our food vendors who are doing other pop-ups, retailers who are doing pop-ups, so the city is going to be filled with our local entrepreneurs who are taking it one step further.
Yeah, and I would just add that, obviously through the mayor's leadership in the city, many of the small businesses and many of the retailers throughout the city have actually been engaged. The Downtown Detroit Partnership through Draft Day in the D are going to have opportunities for vendors that don't actually have a brick and mortar location in the downtown. That's been a critical component to making sure that there's access and inclusivity throughout this entire event. So again, there's lots of opportunity. There are wonderful new brick and mortar opportunities that are going to be highlighted throughout the weekend, but there's also an opportunity for people that aren't necessarily in the downtown neighborhood, but throughout the neighborhoods in the city to be part of this draft, and that's a big part of what this focus has been.
Rod. Yeah, I think I'll let the Lions answer more questions about their specific role, but they have been, again, like a really leading part of everything we've done in terms of engagement, the planning, every step of the way the Lions have played a really critical role. So I'll let them answer any additional questions that could be more detailed for them. Yeah. Sorry, I'll go here and then here. Hi, Tim. Yeah, we're going to make sure that we have, when most things are going to be happening right here in the footprint with the fan experience and such, and that's why you've seen us do so many different events. I don't know if you've seen the On the Clock tours that have been happening, and many of them have been extensively covered on the news. The Lions participated. We had the cheerleaders, Rory, so they've been really fantastic. Sorry, I'll go here and then go there. In terms of parking and such and logistics, I don't know if anyone wants to take on some of that. So, do you want to take that on? Thanks.
I mean, clearly, the biggest thing and what this is actually kicking off 30 days out is a Know Before You Go campaign. And a lot of that information is not only going to be concluded on the NFL One Pass, which is going to be a critical resource for people to understand not only what activities are going on, but also how to navigate and how to make sure that you can be a part of everything that's happening, including things like parking. There's been an entire transportation and parking committee that has been focused on this for months that is going to have maps of where the parking is available. We're going to be encouraging people to do park and ride. There will be shuttles from key locations outside of the core of the city. That will also be, the People Mover, which is announced last week, is free and will be running 24/7, as will the Q Line. So again, there'll be multiple ways for people to get here through our public transportation, through our park and rides, and through the shuttles, as well as just the overall private parking that is available throughout the city.
Follow up, Alexis, for the community free ticket, is that in the action video or that is some fake Oscar? And first of all, let me thank you for that part. I don't know where it's going to be, but I'm just curious to where it's going to be.
So the entire NFL draft event is free. So getting into the footprint, all of that is 100% free. Going back to what Eric said, really what we want people to do is download that One Pass. It has all the information you need, and it is free to get in. You do not have to buy a ticket to come and participate and be involved in the draft. Real quick, Charlie. We don't have those numbers that we can share right now, but we can tell you that we are anticipating a lot of people will be here in Detroit for the draft from all over the country. I think some of the things you've heard Claude and others really talk about in terms of how many people have been really the interest and how easy it is to get to Detroit from so many great football towns. We're going to see that here. So we're really, really excited about that.
Question for the mayor. So many people are participating in this great event. Can you talk about what it's been like to see so many people want to volunteer, giving their time, not just for people from the city, but people from all over?
You know, it's been spectacular. All of these folks, these guys up here have all spent hundreds of hours of volunteer time. My brother Dan lives in Cleveland. He spent hundreds of hours in volunteer time. If you haven't gotten to know him yet, it's the personality of the family. What's your role in this?
Co-chair of the Detroit Experience.
The co-chairing the Detroit Experience. He has been to every NFL draft. He is an encyclopedia of what every city did wrong for the last 10 years, and I'm going to blame him if we don't get it right. But what is so interesting is all of us who are in Kansas City, we turned on talk radio while we were there. And you know what they were saying on talk radio in Kansas City? What happened to the Kansas City businesses? They did this whole event at a park way away from downtown. The downtown restaurants didn't benefit because it wasn't there, and people who normally came down thought there was going to be a crowd and stayed away. I listened to one guy say he had a landscaping company, and they contracted for the ferns in the green room with some company out of Minnesota. They wanted to know why Kansas City. That was the entire tone. We all heard that, and we came back and said, we are going to make this about Detroiters, about Detroit businesses, about Detroit companies. That's why you're seeing all of the effort going into the activations and rec centers in every corner of the city, why you've seen all the outreach to Detroit businesses. And I'm sure we'll make some mistakes, but they'll be different mistakes than they made in Kansas City. But I couldn't be more pleased. And just want to say thank you to everybody up here.
Mr. Mayor, this is the gospel city. Is there anything, this is the music city. You're doing a great job trying to showcase the city. What are we doing about making sure gospel music is part of it?
So this is going to be interesting. So the draft starts at 8 o'clock Thursday night, 7 o'clock Friday night. And so our visitors are going to have all day Thursday and all day Friday to explore Detroit. And you're going to see us push out things like the Motown Museum, push out things like the Avenue of Fashion. We are going to encourage people who are visiting here during the day to see the great things going on in the neighborhood. You had this character, Stephen A. Smith, saying if you got out of downtown, there wasn't anything to see. One of the things we're going to be doing is showing people all the great things in the different parts of the city they can visit. And it seems like gospel we could probably push out too as a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, one
Yeah,
place,
for sure.
through that One Pass guide, I mean, they really are curating experiences so that, like, while you are looking for things to do, all of that will be listed. Another thing that we are working with them on is there's a lot of opportunity. There's like 60 hours of TV between all of the networks that are airing the draft. We're working with them to make sure that really authentic things about Detroit are included and featured, and I think what you're bringing up is a great point. So we'll be sure to really include that in our conversation. The other thing I want to make sure that I've mentioned now, as we are encouraging everyone to download the Smart Pass, but if someone does not have a smartphone, they can still get into the footprint by meeting with an ambassador. So we do not want you just to say, I don't have a smartphone, I can't come. Still come, even if you don't have a smartphone, we have an ambassador who will help you as you're trying to gain access. The other thing we also wanted to mention, these cleats, which Jessica Parker, who's done an amazing job from the city of Detroit, could talk a little bit about.
Hello, good morning. So the Depleted Project is one of several projects we're doing in the city of Detroit to prepare for the draft. We've selected 20 artists that are Detroit-based artists. Huge shout out to City Walls program. They spearheaded this project. We had over 100 submissions. We went through a process to make sure we selected the right artist, and that artist is teaming up with a charity, a local charity. And post-draft, these cleats will be auctioned off, and the proceeds will go to that charity. So these cleats will be strategically placed downtown. You'll have a chance to have a selfie moment with it. The NFL will place the locations on the One Pass app, so visitors can go check out the city, check out the cleats. They are actual murals painted on these oversized sneakers. So we're excited about this project, and while the visitors are here, they get to see our local talent as well as our local businesses and experience the city of Detroit.
And one last note, I just want to say thank you to the media. You have done an absolutely wonderful job of explaining this. This is a foreign experience. I heard people every day say, what's the draft? Why do people stand and watch them pick a person be announced on TV? You've really done a wonderful job explaining what to expect, and it's going to be a special few days. One last question, yes?
When are we going to have details road closure?
It's on now, right? So visit Detroit.com.
Correct.
And all the details there, and the NFL One Pass site. But Friday, you're not going to be able to drive up Randolph. You're not going to be able to drive up here on Farmer and Monroe. This area is going to be shut down. You'll navigate around it. And then in a week or so, we're going to be shutting down Jefferson in front of Hart Plaza. We'll have an announcement at that time. But if you go to the site, it lays everything out. Go ahead. We got more questions.
Just looking back from when the city first made the pitch in 2017, I want to say, how was the city's preparation and planning compared to the original pitch? How was it done?
Yeah, Mark Hollis got to be here somewhere. Did he slip out already? So he had this idea, and he was the first one to ever approach me on it. And you have to say, there was a lot of debate. We could have put this on Belle Isle, and we'd have had all kinds of national TV viewership. The amount of work it takes to integrate this, what Rock has had to do, what the Downtown Detroit Partnership, what all the businesses have had to do, we chose a far more complicated approach because we think the long-term benefit to this city, to have people, our 3 or 4 or 500,000 visitors, see the streets of Detroit, walk the River Walk, the USA Today says is the best in the country, to have them experience that, we decided was worth it. Now, April 29th, you'll tell us whether that was a good decision or a bad decision, but it was a courageous decision, and I would not have made it if it hadn't been for all the people up here pitching in. Yeah, either one. Sarah, Dana, whichever one.
You mentioned names like J.J. McCarthy, like, or any other big names we expect. I think that's what a lot of people.
Well, I think, what's the guy from USC, Caleb?
Yes.
So anyway, they'll all be here. So what they do is they build out what they call this green room, which is this massive trailer. Where are you guys putting the green room? Behind us here? And so everybody who is expected to be picked in the first round sits back there in relatively plush quarters with tons of food and things to drink, and then they're brought out on the stage one at a time. It is a true who's who, and when you see a lot of the NFL teams have their former players, their legends, come in and announce the draft picks. So anybody who's a football fan, you're going to experience lots of legends on the streets of Detroit. Go ahead.
I was just going to add on to not only the green room, which will be obviously, during the actual draft broadcast, but the red carpet, which is, what you see on TV and, the stories about the players and where they came from and what the opportunity represents to not only them, but their families and their schools is all taking place at the Fox Theater. So this, again, as the mayor said, is extending all the way through the downtown neighborhoods. It's extending into the neighborhoods throughout the city. And it is a very unique way for Detroit to tell its story and to highlight the progress and the opportunity that Detroit represents.
Go ahead.
I got to go back to security for a second. I mean, this is the first draft done since the Kansas City parade. Is it boosted in that aspect? And also, I mean, we've got a Tigers game going on at the same time against Kansas City.
So this is what we do. I don't think I ever saw anything like Taylor Swift. The mobs that were down here, they filled every hotel room all the way up to Troy for the weekend. That followed the Grand Prix, which was huge crowds downtown, which, remember, we hadn't done that before. We moved that from Belle Isle. That came off without incident. We had the fireworks that came off without incident. We had the Technofest that came off without incident, the Pride Parade that came off without incident. I can't ever say to you that there won't be somebody with bad judgment who starts something. You look at what happened in Kansas City. They had 500,000 people on a beautiful day, and 2 people got in a beef and spoiled the event for everybody. But what you are going to see is the Detroit Police Department at their best. We will be there, and I will be asking the people of this city to say, when you see a couple of people, sometimes football fans drink a little bit too much and the like, there's going to be police officers everywhere. We're going to say to Detroiters, you see something start to develop, go get a cop. Let's just calm it down. Let's just handle it that way. And if our residents are as vigilant as they usually are, and the police are vigilant, I'm expecting us to have a very successful 3 days. Yeah. Yeah, a lot. So I think it's like the 4th of July. Our fireworks. So fireworks, for those couple of days, all police vacations and leave are canceled. Every officer is assigned. Same thing is going to be true for these 3 days. The officers know you can't take vacation days those days. And we got the commander from the downtown precinct. We can talk about it, but you're going to have our entire department here. And after what we dealt with the crowds and the events last summer, I think you're going to see them ready. But Commander, you want to talk about how ready you are?
Yeah, I just want to also note the collaborative effort, state, local, and federal agencies. We've been working at this for months. Outstanding law enforcement community that's all coming together to ensure the safety and success of this event. We're 30 days out. We're ready. We have a very detailed plan in place. I also want to note our real-time crime center. It's the best in the country that's going to support this event as well. We talk about the number of uniformed officers in and around the footprint, the downtown area, but our layered approach to addressing crime with Evolve and officers that you won't see, undercover officers that are monitoring the flow of the public, relaying information back, and our quick response to any incident that occurs in the downtown area. Sure. Commander Matthew Fulgenzi. Yes, Fulgenzi.
Why don't we start a campaign to loot it before you pollute?
That's true. It really is true.
You said call somebody.
Yeah, that's it. And, a few years ago, we had large protests on these streets every day for 3 months. We didn't have a single fire. We didn't have a single store looted, one of the few cities in America. It was Detroiters who stepped up, and when they saw signs of trouble, acted appropriately. And we're going to need, it's not going to just be the police. It's going to be Detroiters behaving as they usually do, as good hosts, but vigilant hosts.
All right, thank you all so much for being here, and can't wait to share more information as we get closer to the draft. Thank you.